Anesthesiologist. What was something you won't forget hearing from someone that was under? I'd been working the night shift for almost 10 years, but nothing prepared me for Mrs. Donovan. She was a 78-year-old grandmother scheduled for hip replacement surgery, the sweetest lady you could imagine. Before the procedure, she showed me pictures of her grandchildren and told me she was nervous because this was her first time under anesthesia. I assured her everything would be fine. The surgery went smoothly, but when she started coming out of anesthesia and recovery, that's when things got interesting. I was checking her vitals when her eyes fluttered open, and she looked at me with absolute certainty and said, "I need to tell someone about the bodies." My pen froze mid-note. She grabbed my arm with surprising strength and continued, "There are 3 of them buried under the rose garden. Don't tell Richard. He doesn't know." I nodded professionally while mentally questioning if I needed to call someone. Then she smiled sweetly and asked if her husband was here yet. I told her he was in the waiting room, and she looked confused. My husband? But Richard's been dead for 15 years. Now I was completely lost. When her actual husband came in, very much alive and named Robert, she greeted him normally. I pulled him aside and mentioned what she'd said. He burst out laughing. "Oh, that must be about her mystery novel. She's been writing one about a gardener who murders people. She works on it every night before bed." Relief washed over me, but the story doesn't end there. 2 days later, during her follow-up, she had no memory of our conversation. I jokingly mentioned her confession about the bodies in the garden, expecting her to laugh. Instead, she went completely pale. "How do you know about that?" she whispered. Before I could respond, she composed herself and chuckled. "My goodness, what medications did you give me? I must have been talking about my novel." She changed the subject immediately, asking about recovery protocols with unusual intensity. As she was leaving, she turned to me and said, "Doctor, patient confidentiality covers everything said under anesthesia, correct?" I nodded, and she seemed relieved. "Wonderful. The roses are blooming beautifully this year. All that fertilizer." She winked and walked out with her husband. I told myself it was just the medication and her novelist imagination. Afterwards, the hospital fell into a reflective hush as I replayed that peculiar night. Every whispered word, laden with a mix of sincerity and mystery, echoed inside me. I felt a profound connection to the hidden lives and untold secrets of each patient, a silent testament to the enigma of our shared humanity. And still, I ponder. 3 weeks later, I was watching the local news when a story came on about a cold case being reopened. 3 bodies had been discovered during renovations at her old address, under what used to be a rose garden. The previous owner, Richard Donovan, had disappeared 15 years ago, presumed to have abandoned his family. The current homeowners were digging up the garden when they found the remains. The reporter mentioned that police were looking to question the previous owner, Mrs. Donovan. I nearly dropped my coffee mug. The camera panned to her house, where officers were speaking with her on the porch. She caught sight of the camera and smiled serenely, waving like a celebrity. To this day, I don't know if she was convicted. She moved away shortly after, but she did send me a signed copy of her first published mystery novel. The title? The Secret Under the Roses. Inside, she'd written, "Thank you for keeping my secret, doctor. Some stories are better left as fiction."